Hey, hi, my name is Chris. Every day I'm doing a vlog and I'm doing it for 1,000 days, guys. Yes, 1,000 days. So if you could subscribe, maybe hit that like button or hit that bell notification, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Every day I talk about something uniquely different. And today I'm going to talk about bad neighbours. Yeah, we've all had them, haven't we? At least I think so. Unless you live in a very remote place where you don't have neighbours, then yeah. But I think we've all had experiences of bad neighbours. Parking issues are a big theme for a lot of people, aren't they? You live somewhere, parking can be so difficult, and your neighbours really don't care that you've got a garage, or they don't care where they park, and they park closer onto your property, and that causes an awful lot of issue and animosity. I used to live in another part of this city, and one of my neighbours at the time, they literally had their car almost outside by my gate where I had to walk in and out of, and it was so difficult to navigate. I remember speaking to them about it and saying, can you just move just a little bit further this way? They never did it. They completely ignored my request, and therefore I think they, for me at least, fell into the remit of being a bad neighbour. It was so unfair, and I just vowed really to sort of blank them from then onwards, because I just didn't want the negativity. I'd smile still, wave politely, but I just felt like I was being the better person. And other issues then, in terms of how your neighbours present, well, I had a neighbour who used to do drugs, smoke weed, and yeah, that used to present some issue. I personally don't smoke, I don't like smoke, but you could smell the weed that he was using, and that was something that I found was antisocial, and I'm sure the rest of the neighbours in the street weren't very happy with that. And again, it was just something that was just awful. I think their lifestyle too, and that can affect your idea of what a bad neighbour is. So if they're awake at 4 o'clock in the morning shouting at the TV when everybody else is asleep, well, I think that's an issue, isn't it? You're probably going to be woken up at some point. Noise, yes, noisy neighbours. TV on, screaming at the TV, shouting, especially when a football match is on. There's one particular chap I know was, you could just hear him up the street. It was just horrendous. And of course, there was no really thought or concern for other people in the street, especially, you know, the aged people there, the people who are of a certain age, and they just didn't appreciate or didn't like the noisy guy, and it didn't seem like he had a job. It seemed like he was making a living out of selling drugs, and at least that's the way it felt. And by the way, I always stop here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 swans here by me. Don't know if you can see them there. But it is such a beautiful evening today, it really is. So yeah, getting back to noisy neighbours, it can really impact on your quality of life too. And you could even think, well, I've been here for a while now and I'm kind of hating it, and I'm really considering moving. And if you're at that stage where you've tried everything, then maybe moving might just be the option for you. It's very unfair though, isn't it? People just lack that understanding that their behaviour is annoying everybody else around them, and being a bad neighbour isn't fun. Having a bad neighbour isn't fun. It's something that can really, like I say, impact on your quality of life and how you feel about life. Neighbours, yeah, have issues with parking, like I've said. They have issues with noise, drugs, and sometimes it's noisy children. Sometimes it's litter as well. Have you noticed that? There's lots of rubbish. There's a ton of rubbish that's left outside the address, or on your way into your address. They've just left it there, and they habitually do it. And there's very little that you can do about it. Now, I believe really in setting an example. I think really collecting that rubbish and putting it in the bin, doing something that's necessary, I think just shows that you're a good neighbour, and maybe people learn from you. Maybe people take something away from that. I don't know. It's just the thoughtlessness that's actually behind that. It's them not wanting to accept. I mean, they think they're just the only ones on the planet. It's such a selfish thing as well, isn't it? It really is. It's completely selfish. And if you challenge them about it, then of course, you know, you're the bad person, aren't you? And then really they've got the option of upping the ante then, being more difficult, leaving more rubbish around, being more noisier at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. And that, yeah, that is a challenge. And I think really having that can really impact on so many levels of your life. It really can. But what you've got to do is think about the future and think about where you're going to go. I know some people are so threaders with where they are and who they see that they just want to move location and go somewhere else. And if that's your thing, then that's your thing, isn't it? You're going to go and do it because you want to keep peace back in your life. And that is what it's all about, isn't it? I'm very lucky though. I've got some great neighbours. There is one or two, but you're going to get that wherever you live, wherever you go. There are people who just cause you issue. I think I've pretty much had it most places where I've been. It's been so unfair, isn't it? And you think, how do these people actually end up here? How do they get there? But they do, and we've got to all live in this wonderful thing called a community. It's a space that we all occupy, and it's a place that we all have to share and be a part of. But yeah, you just wish some people would just go and live on maybe a different planet. Maybe go and live on that noisy planet where they can create as much noise as they want and they're not going to cause annoyance to you. Maybe that's the best thing. But like I say, I don't know. I mean, there are recourse, isn't there? You could call the police if there's issue. You could call the local authority and let them know about your the problem that you have. You could say, well, I'm experiencing this, and as long as you evidence it, as long as you document it, and that may kick in certain powers based on where you live. It may be that you have support that way, and maybe community teams from your local authority will get involved, and they will do something about this person, serving them all sorts of antisocial behaviour notices, giving them notice to quit, getting them to move on. But I've spoken to a lot of people basically on this subject, and it just seems this could happen anywhere across the social strata. You could live in a posh part of town, but you could have neighbours that are just so noisy and so difficult to be around that that's an issue for you in your daily life. And if it is an issue, then probably doing something about that is the best thing. And doing it through a litigious route rather than maybe confronting them, especially if they present as being alcohol or drug dependent. And that brings its own issues, doesn't it? Violence, aggression. It can bring a risk, and really it's not worth putting yourself at risk. So maybe doing things in that sort of vein to get you the result that you need is probably going to be the most viable option that you have. But we've all experienced it, I think. We've all had these kind of people live next door or just up the street. They just seem to stand out. Most people tend to live their lives decently and honourably, but some people just cannot do that. And it could be like they're leaving their rubbish bins out all the time. Their garden is such a mess. They're not even remotely looking after their house or home. Or it's their behaviour. They have people coming around all the time, revving their engines up, constantly drinking outside, causing such annoyance and havoc. It causes so much distress and makes people alarmed because they're witnessing this every night. And when you've come home from a heavy day at work, do you really need this? I would say not. No, I would. But that's me. What do I know? Some people might actually like that, but I think most people don't. I really do. I think most people would hate that, and I absolutely would hate it. I really would. But, you know, I guess I guess we all have to live, like I say, in this community together. And if we're able to sort of speak to each other and communicate things, I mean, I think some people actually are really nice and really decent, but some aren't approachable, some aren't decent, and some people don't like being asked to not do something that you regard as antisocial. So if you experience that, if you're having that in your life at the moment, then you have my sympathy, and maybe look at any viable route that you have to maybe extricate yourself from the issue, from the problem at hand. That might be the best thing that you can do. And yeah, you never know. Things might change if you do explore a litigious route. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts on this, because I genuinely believe that most people have had bad neighbours, noisy neighbours, all the things that can constitute this horrible approach to life that some people have. So yeah, I'd be interested in your comments on this one. Anyway, look, every day I do a vlog. Every day it's completely different. I really appreciate you stopping here and enjoying these vlogs. It really means a lot to me. And every day, like I say, is something uniquely different. If you could like, subscribe and hit that bell notification, I'd appreciate you. And I'll leave you with this view. It's gorgeous. But this is a gorgeous place, isn't it? It really is. And I'll be back again tomorrow with something completely different. And I'll see you then. Bye now.